Welcome to Azure Reference Architecture series. In this episode, we are going to discuss the Azure Architecture Blueprint. You can also call it as the Azure High-Level Architecture. Prior to this, we discussed about the application high-level architecture. We discussed about the application requirement, application Azure considerations. And since you understand the website requirements and Azure considerations, and also the application high-level architecture. So it's easy to create the application high-level Azure architecture based on the application high-level architecture. So in very high level, I'm going to use the application gateway, app service environment, apps API management, and again, app service environment, some of the backend stores like SQL, NoSQL, Azure, and some of the Azure resources listed here. So this is my high level application requirement. Now in this series, in this episode, I'm going to discuss how to create the Azure high level requirement document and also a list of services used in the reference architecture series I'm talking about. So this is my Azure architecture blueprint. I can call it as the application Azure high-level architecture. So very high level, I need DNS. I need the application gateway. I'm going to use the app service environment, apps API management, and then SQL Server, and also Cosmos DB and blob storage, along with the virtual network and subscriptions and resource group. So these are my high level Azure resources I'm going to create as part of this series. So let's try to understand and join these services together to make a high level architecture. So you have to start with point number one. When you enter the URL, as I mentioned, this website is this architecture is created for the website which I'm working on right now. So this is my website. It's called icodeforyou.com. When user enter the URL on the browser, that URL is actually going to send it to the DNS registrar, where the DNS mapping between the URL, the custom domain, and the public IP address of the web application gateway is going to be resolved by the DNS registrar. So once the DNS accept the resolve the DNS URL, the request is sent to your network. So your network has the subscription in the cloud. So this infrastructure is hosted in the cloud with a different subscription. So I'm going to use 3 subscriptions, one for dev, one for test, one for production. And I'm going to have a separate virtual network for each environment. And I'm also going to logically arrange all my Azure resources using the resource group. Once the request enter into your zone, the request is actually hit by the application gateway. So application gateway is configured the public IP address, and that's why the request will be coming into the application gateway. So this application gateway, let me discuss about a little bit about the application. Before I jump into the application gateway, I just wanted to mention that the high-level architecture I'm showing here is suitable for startups or the mid-scale companies. Don't go with the exact architecture. I hope you understand it. And none of these solutions which available may not fit into your solution. But in this series, I'm trying to convey that the reference architecture or the case study which I'm going to use it part of the website series. So I'm also talking about some of the microservices, but they may not be fully microservice architecture. So but those microservices which I'm creating as part of this architecture series will be fully compatible in the future to move into the Azure Kubernetes services. So if you want to know more details about the technology stack used throughout this Azure architecture, you can look at the website called icodeforyou.com. Now, back to the application gateway. Azure Application Gateway is the web traffic load balancer that enables you to manage traffic to your web application. So application gateway can make routing decisions, right? So if you say, if your application URL has the slash images or slash videos or slash any of the static contents which are going to take time, so you can use the Azure CDN. So I will talk about the Azure CDN a little bit later. But in the application gateway, I'm going to have the backend pools, backend pool for the app service environment, backend pool for the API management. So those backend pools, depending on the request, those backend pools will be called as part of the step 4. Let's say I'm using the app service environment here for web tier, another app service environment for app tier. So again, depending on your need, if you want to fully isolate your infrastructure, you can use separate app service environment, or you can use the same app service environment for web tier and app tier both. So the Azure App Service environment again has 2 versions. The latest version is V3. So I would recommend to use the App Service environment V3, or you can also use the existing app service environment, which is V2, is a feature that provides fully isolated and dedicated environment for securely running app services. So you can have multiple instances of app service plans in the app service environment. So the app service plan provide the managed virtual machines that host your apps. So that's why, because if you want to host it in the same virtual machine, web tier and app tier, that's cost saving. That is one option. But in my case, I'm using completely isolated environment for web tier and app tier. So I will be configuring 2 app service environment, one for web tier and one for app tier. And the request from the web tier coming into the app tier via the application gateway. So I'm using the API management as an application gateway, so that the traffic coming from the web tier is not directly hit into the app tier. So some of the responsibilities like authentication and authorization are delegated into the API management or the API gateway. So that's why I provisioned the API management service. And now the 6th one is the microservices stack, where my app service plans, again, you can take a decision here. One app service plan for domain-centric services, one app service plan for security, one app service plan for framework level services. You can have multiple app service plans within the app service environment, and you can further segregate your APIs or the microservices into app service plan category. Now, my app tier is talking to the database tier. In the database tier, again, I have the Azure SQL Server relational database, and I'm also having the Cosmos DB for NoSQL database purpose. And then the Redis cache for improving the performance. Some of the static data or some of the data which is heavy, taking the high performance will be loaded through the Redis cache. On the other hand, I have the storage, Azure storage account for managing my documents. So that will be placed in the separate subnet. So this architecture, the blueprint I'm talking about, this is a very high level, but this is again further divided into network architecture. And I'm going to discuss the security architecture separately, network architecture separately, and how the DevOps process going to be in place to host these services. So I will be discussing those topics in the subsequent videos. Finally, my app service will also be calling the external services. So that is shown in the step 9. So in this case, I'm having the SendGrid, or you can have some other external web APIs or external services or the legacy services calling from the app tier. So, and apart from this, I will also be using the Azure Key Vault for storing the keys securely, network security group for firewalls, security center, application insights, and Azure alerts. So I listed some of the services, not every service used throughout the reference architecture, but hopefully some of these services are helpful for understanding, what the Azure high-level architecture looks like. Now let's take a look at some of the services used throughout this reference architecture guide series. So I'll be creating the virtual network, application gateway, API management, app service environment with the app service plans and apps or APIs. I will also be creating the deployment slots for the production and staging so that you can swap during the production. I also need the public IP address at the application gateway level so that I can map it to my DNS. I will be using the Azure DNS. I will be using the GoDaddy for mapping. So I will be creating another video on how to configure the custom domain or the DNS mapping in the GoDaddy. And I will also be discussing the Azure SQL Server, firewalls inside the Azure SQL Server, and the different other resources like the CDN, and how to automate all these Azure services, and also blob storage, Key Vault, SendGrid, and how to use the security center, how to fix the security center vulnerabilities, Azure Advisor, and Azure Application Insights. So these are the services you will be seeing throughout the series. I hope this video is helpful. So before closing this video, I would like to say thank you very much for staying and watching or listening this series. I would always appreciate if you can provide the feedback so that it really helps me to improve for the next videos. And always, if you like, subscribe to this channel so that I'll be able to make more videos. Also, in case if you are struggling, if the video is really slow, please always use the YouTube playback speed. So you may want to select 1.2, 1.5, depending on how you are comfortable. Because while making the video, you might see the video is really slow, but if you want to speed up, you can use the playback speed of the YouTube videos. For more information, you can always look into this website. I'm always keeping the information up to date. So if you want to look at the current series, you can click on the Azure Basic Architecture series, where you will be able to see chapter by chapter in details. If you go in details, you'll be able to see. I'm also going to post these PowerPoint slides in the website, so you can always get the more information on this website. Thank you very much.